Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about mental health, and this is provided for school counselors to help their staff and their administrators and educate on the role of the school counselor. So this is really important to share with staff on how we help students and also how we can help staff. My name is Priscilla Grijalva, and I'm a school counselor at Norte Vista High School in Riverside, California, in the Alvord Unified School District. I have been a school counselor about 15 years, and I'm so grateful that CASC has asked us to do this presentation on mental health. I was also a finalist for California School Counselor of the Year, and I've served on state leadership with CASC as a board member in the past, and I am truly grateful to be a school counselor. I love my job.
I'm Nancy Mahoney. It's also my 15th year as a school counselor. I am past president of the California Association of School Counselors, and my area of expertise is suicide prevention.
School counselors are trained to provide counseling in academics, college and career readiness, and social emotional. If you would like additional resources, you can click on this link, the role of the school counselor, and it will share all the resources that you can use for community and your families. And also it'll break it apart by grade level to share the role of the school counselor. Trauma-informed teaching begins with you. So by taking care of yourself, you are taking care of your students. It's beneficial to you and your students because students can pick up on your emotional state even within a virtual format. So it's really important we model it for our students as well. If we practice self-care, the students will learn that they need to practice self-care as well.
So we know that you can't pour from an empty cup. So right now you may be feeling one or all of these signs of stress, and all of them are okay. It's very normal in times of a pandemic and when our whole world is changing around us. For some of us, we may feel worried and tired. Others of us may not understand why we have headaches. So how do you typically respond to stress? Remember that we said that it's individual, and we wanted to just review a couple ways that you can take care of yourself. So some of these you may be familiar with already. We wanted to just point a few of them out. Particularly in a virtual or remote learning environment, you want to make sure that you set boundaries. So that means you're not checking your email or your voicemail constantly. You post your actual office hours for your students on your Google Classroom or whatever platform you're using. It might mean that you limit the amount of social media or news that you're watching because that will impact you. And ask your colleagues, check in with your colleagues. Maybe for you, it means spending time with your family, your pets, your friends, or just go binge watch something on Netflix.
It's really important with the boundaries that we set a time to log off from work. So I know we may have struggled, especially over the pandemic, checking our emails all hours of the night, but it's kind of like a store. When we go to the store, they have their office hours set when they open and close. So maybe setting office hours on your Google Classroom or your email so the students know when they can reach you and when you're not available. Try to laugh a little. So we know during this pandemic, we've had to pivot a lot in education with opening and then shutting down and then opening again and not sure if it's virtual or hybrid or going back to traditional. So here's just a short video on how to pivot in education.
Here we go, pivot. Pivot! 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 Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Okay, I don't think it's gonna pivot anymore. You think? Here we go.
So that was just a funny show that I'm sure a lot of us watched when the Friends show was around and still around. This calming room is a great resource. School counselors in Corona Norco Unified School District created this virtual calming room, and it's a great resource to use as an adult and even with your students. So if you go to this website, you can see all kinds of resources for guided meditation, relaxation, puzzles, yoga, cooking. And then if you would like, you can create a Google survey. So it's really important that we collect data so we know where our students are at, and then also if they need additional resources or help. So just an example of a survey that I created, it's a calm room survey. So after your students visit that calm room, have them fill out this survey with their last name, first name. You can put their grade level. How did they feel before they went into the calm room? How were they feeling? And then once they use the calm room, what is the one thing they used in the calm room? So for example, maybe they used yoga. And then when they got out of the calm room, how were they feeling after they did yoga? Did the calm room help them? And then having them write at least one thing they're grateful for. This is really important, especially with mental health, that we remind our students of gratitude. TikTok is the huge craze right now, so it's not just with the students, but also with educators. I've personally used it as self-care. It's made me laugh, and I've learned new dances and tips to help our students. So an amazing principal in Rancho Verde High School at Verde Unified School District created the self-care TikTok video, and we did one together. So I'll kind of show you, it's a short video.
Put a finger down if you took up yoga. Put a finger down if you started meditating. Put a finger down if you kept a journal. Put a finger down if you started a new hobby. Put a finger down if you learned how to sew. Put a finger down if you learned how to knit. Put a finger down if you learned how to bake. Put a finger down if you read at least 3 books since March. Put a finger down if you binge watched 5 shows on Netflix. Put a finger down if you purchased lavender-scented anything to help ease your nerves. Put a finger down if you stress shopped on Amazon. Put a finger down if you took up gardening. Put a finger down if you named all your plants. Put a finger down if you taught your pet a new trick. Put a finger down if you bought a do-it-yourself kit on anything. Put a finger down if you learned a new musical instrument. Put a finger down if you started TikTok. Put a finger down.
So maybe not everyone's into the TikTok craze, but it's one resource to help with self-care. Here are some signs to look for in our students, especially during the virtual setting. So the ones with the stars are something we might be able to notice. So for example, sleep issues. Maybe the student is falling asleep in a Zoom meeting or Google Meet. Educational problems, like they're not submitting their assignments on time or at all. Increased irritability, maybe they're eye rolling in a meeting. Negative changes in behavior, maybe they're acting out in a Zoom meeting or Google Meet. Difficulty concentrating, suicidal thoughts. When to refer a student to a school counselor. Obviously, if they're having suicidal thoughts, you need to get them help right away. If their needs are greater than those the teacher can provide in the classroom virtual setting. So we want to make sure that teachers are teaching, because that's their job. As school counselors, we're there to help the student with mental health. So if a student requires more support and attention to address or solve a problem, please refer them to their school counselor. If they're really sad or angry or worried, as we know, a lot of us have been worried because we don't know what's going on, or maybe they're having difficulty with family, or they lost someone in their family, like a friend or a pet, or something's affecting them in their school performance.
We wanted to provide you some additional sources of support you can provide to your families, to your students, and to your teachers. The only one that is specific would be the county, your local county crisis center. It's a really good resource. They also have educators they provide, but being able to post this information available online for the students is going to be a good source of support for them. We also have additional links for the marginalized populations that we may have in our schools. We're not going to click on each individual link, but you can see that these are all connected here and will provide additional support for those students.
Here are some additional resources that we are going to address as school counselors, such as social justice issues. So the California Teachers Association has great resources on their website. You can click on this link and it will take you straight to it. Anti-racism resources. This is created by the California Association of School Counselors. and they have resources that we can share with our families to discuss race, so they can be talking with their students about racism. An amazing school counselor in Minneapolis, his name is Derek Francis, created a worksheet on how to talk to students about racism. And here's a video that he was showing, and then he was able to use the worksheet with his students.
Everyone knows Chinese people are disgusting. They'll eat any type of animal. They're dirty. That's what my classmate said just days after the coronavirus outbreak started in the United States. It felt like a stab to my chest. I'm Chinese American, and this is someone that I've gone to school with for almost 3 years, who I consider a friend. But it's no wonder that she feels this way.
An obscure virus arising from a meat market in eastern China.
As the coronavirus spreads, there's another virus spreading that we need to be talking about.
I hate Asians.
A woman who's Asian says she was punched by another woman in Midtown Manhattan, and she accused her of having the COVID-19 virus.
I want him under me. Tell him to move.
Young Asian Americans like me are feeling hate infect every part of our lives.
And I'd like to just ask the Chinese for a formal apology.
Not only do we have to be afraid about our health, but we have to be afraid about being ourselves.
Class basically just started, and one of the girls said all Chinese people were disgusting. And so I literally raised my hand up, I am Chinese. She didn't even say sorry. She just blew past it, I guess. And then she kept going on about it. I never knew it would happen to me, especially at this school.
Good morning.
Morning.
我说你在看什么东西？
我在看那个 coronavirus report。学校有关于这方面的 bullying 的话，你要跟我们说，要跟老师说，知道吗？这是不对的。
嗯。
This Chinese restaurant was texting their customers saying, none of our staff have been to China. We have no contact with the coronavirus. Please, come back to us. And people were making fun of it.
There are thousands and thousands of cases in Italy, but no one's boycotting Olive Garden.
Yeah.
No, seriously, no one's boycotting a mom and pop's pizza place. It's the same thing.
Historically, pandemics have stoked xenophobia. In the 19th century, people spread rumors that Irish immigrants carried cholera, and tuberculosis was known as the Jewish disease. In 1900, when a Chinese man supposedly died of the plague in San Francisco, Chinatown residents were forcibly quarantined by police, while white residents were allowed to leave the area. It seems like since the start of the coronavirus outbreak, schools have been a petri dish for racism. It's dangerous to normalize behavior like this for people my age. So you just spoke with the other student. So can you tell me what happened?
She understood my frustration and anger. They didn't really mean to say that, and they were actually making a generalization. And so she apologized to me basically, and I really appreciated it.
Coronavirus may have originated in China, but the disease doesn't discriminate in the way that people do. It's extremely important that people have accurate information on how to stay safe, so we can kill this virus without spreading another one.
So just to show you an example of the worksheet that Derek created, here are some questions you can address with your students on racism. And here are our contact information. So if you need to contact me or Nancy, these are our emails and the resources that we use throughout the presentation. Thank you guys so much.